Before the darkness truly begins, remember to subscribe and stay ready for a new spine-chilling story every week. But some stories don't end when you think they do, and this one begins at a place where faith itself feels fragile. At the entrance of an ancient, abandoned monastery hidden deep within the desolate mountains, a warning had been carved into the cold stone, a final message from someone who knew what lay beyond that door, a message that hinted this was not just a place, but a boundary, a line between the living world and something far more sinister. And standing before it were two nuns, their faces pale yet resolute, knowing there was no turning back, because whatever evil was sealed inside had begun to awaken, and if they failed, it would not remain contained. One of them whispered, her voice trembling yet determined, that tonight they might have to sacrifice their lives, because if they didn't, something far worse would be unleashed upon the world. And with that, they pushed open the massive, decaying doors and stepped into the suffocating darkness within. Inside, the air felt heavy, unnatural, as though it carried centuries of suffering, and in the shadows, something waited, a presence that slowly revealed itself in the form of a terrifying nun, her appearance twisted and unnatural, her hollow eyes filled with a cold, ancient malice, a being that did not belong to this world. And the moment they saw her, fear took hold, driving one of the nuns to flee in sheer terror. But escape was never truly an option, and before the entity could reach her, she chose her own fate, ending her life in desperation, believing death was the only way to avoid something far worse. News of the tragedy soon reached the church, and a priest was sent to investigate, accompanied by a young nun named Sister Irene, chosen not just for her faith, but for her unusual gift, visions that came without warning, glimpses of things that had not yet happened, or things that should not exist at all, a connection to the unseen that both guided and tormented her. When they arrived at the monastery, the atmosphere itself seemed to resist their presence, the silence pressing in from all sides. And as they stepped inside, the feeling of being watched became undeniable, their every movement echoing through the empty halls, until they began to notice strange occurrences. Figures in white robes moving silently through distant corridors, vanishing the moment they tried to focus on them. Objects shifting on their own as if guided by invisible hands, and an overwhelming sense that they were not alone. Deeper within the ruins, the priest encountered the body of the nun who had died, her form grotesquely distorted, her neck broken, her face partially decayed. Yet as he looked closer, her eyes suddenly opened, lifeless yet aware, and in an instant she lunged at him, overpowering him with unnatural strength and trapping him within a coffin, sealing him away as if claiming him for something beyond death. Separated and alone, Sister Irene wandered through the monastery until she encountered another nun, one who seemed calm yet carried an eerie presence. And through her, the truth began to unfold. A long-forgotten exorcism had once taken place in this very monastery, but something had gone terribly wrong, opening a gateway between worlds, a portal through which dark entities had entered, and among them was a powerful demonic presence known as Valak, an entity of pure malice that thrived on faith and sought to corrupt or destroy anyone who dared to stand against it. According to the nun, this entity could not be defeated by ordinary means. It could only be stopped using a sacred relic containing the blood of Jesus Christ, a relic hidden deep within the monastery and locked away with a key. And with trembling hands, the nun gave that key to Sister Irene, though the moment she touched it, a wave of dread consumed her, her breath growing heavy as a vision forced its way into her mind. A coffin, darkness, something trapped, yet watching. When she finally found the priest again, she realized he was still alive, struggling against forces that refused to let him escape, surrounded by writhing shadows that seemed almost alive. But before they could act, the entity vanished, leaving behind an even heavier silence, as though it was watching, waiting for the right moment. With urgency growing, Irene shared what she had learned, though the priest was shaken by one detail. The monastery had been abandoned for years, meaning the nun who gave her the key could not have been alive, raising a chilling realization that not all spirits in that place were hostile, that some were still fighting to stop the evil within. Guided by faith and fear, they searched for the hidden relic, following clues revealed through visions and prayers, until they finally found it. But by then, it was almost too late, because the entity had returned, stronger and more aggressive, attacking the priest with brutal force, overwhelming him despite his prayers, as if mocking his faith. And in a horrifying moment, it killed him without mercy, leaving Irene alone to face it. The darkness closed in around her, the entity drawing closer, its presence suffocating, its power undeniable, lifting her off the ground as if she were nothing. But even in that moment of terror, she refused to give in, clutching the relic tightly. And with a final surge of courage, she used it, releasing the sacred blood upon the entity, and the effect was immediate, a violent, piercing reaction as the demon let out an unearthly scream, its form twisting and breaking apart, as though it could no longer exist in this world, until finally it vanished, leaving behind only silence and the faint echo of something that might not be completely gone. And though the battle seemed won, the truth remained far more unsettling, that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed, and some evils, even when defeated, never fully leave. They only wait.